of Wednesday, June 17th of the Genesee County Board of County Commissioners is called to order. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Lloyd. Commissioner Winfrey.
Here.
Commissioner Getzinger.
Here.
Commissioner Brown. Here. Commissioner Avery. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Present.
Commissioner Cousineau. Commissioner Wayhill.
I'm here.
Commissioner Flewelling.
Present.
We have a quorum. Let the record show that Commissioners Avery, Cousineau, and Lloyd are excused. Now we have time for our invocation. Commissioner Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Please bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to assemble here today. We ask that you continue to bless the residents of this great county and bless every staff and every employee of this county government. And dear Lord, we ask that you order our steps as we deliberate on the business of this great county. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please rise for the pledge. We have before us the minutes of our meeting on May 13th, 2026. What's your pleasure?
Move all three.
All three have been moved, May 13th, May 20th, June 3rd minutes. Is there support for that?
Support.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Excuse me. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We have public address. Those of you that wish to address us, if you'd line up on this side and come one by one, I do want to recognize the prosecutor to come first to provide his report on his office's recent activities.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good evening, Commissioners. As the statute requires, I'm here to give you my second quarter update. I've shared with you the statistics that I'm about to read with respect to what went on in April, May, and June, which is not yet complete. But as you can see, we had 1,500 criminal warrant requests during that period, of which we charged 971. And even the 465 that we declined, we still had to review, which means that in addition to reading all the police reports that accompany the warrant requests, we also had to review body camera footage, ring camera footage, phone triangulations to determine where the cell phones may have been during the alleged crime, and all of the forensic materials that accompany a warrant request. And you can see from that we issued 580 felonies and 272 misdemeanors. In addition, there were 104 juvenile warrants requested, 98 issued, 44 felonies, and 52 misdemeanors. Also, in the second quarter of this year, we had 13 jury trials, which is a very large amount. And jury trials, as you know, are productions, they're plays. You have to bring up witnesses, and the prosecutor is responsible for the entire production. The prosecutor is the lead actor. The prosecutor has to be the producer and the director of what goes on in front of the jury. We were quite successful in the second quarter. We convicted a Frederick Simon of second-degree murder, and I might point out to you that that was a retrial. We had tried him and convicted him in the first place, only to have it sent back by the appellate court, which happens sometimes. We don't like it when it happens, but we tried him a second time. So that was two. We won a very, very big case in May against a gentleman named Clifton Taylor, whose rapper name is Cliff Mack, who we believe is responsible for much mischief in the city of Flint and the inner suburbs. Cliff Mack was convicted of first-degree murder and will be sentenced later on this month. We also convicted Jaquez Barnett of second-degree murder, Pierre Chambers of first-degree murder. That's the one you may have seen on TV within the last 48 hours. sadly shot his father in the face multiple times. A terrible, terrible tragedy. And as of this morning, we were picking a jury in the Deontay Wiley murder case. We have picked 27 juries this calendar year. That's a very large amount for a county this size. So we're firing on all cylinders. Obviously, we want to be able to keep that going. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prosecutor. Do we have additional public address? We do ask that you give us your name and where you reside.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Brenda Fortunate, and I'm a Grand Blanc resident. I'm also a family medicine physician who has served on the Genesee Health Plan Quality and Oversight Committee for the last 20-plus years. In addition, I'm the Vice President of the Genesee County Free Medical Clinic. I'm here to dispel any notion there exists a network of free clinics in the county that can absorb the Genesee Health Plan enrollees if funding for the plan ends. The Genesee County Free Medical Clinic on Welsh Boulevard is the free clinic network for our county. We have 5 paid employees. McLaren staffs our clinic 3 half-days per week with family medicine and internal medicine residents who require supervision by a licensed physician. This supervision is provided by McLaren faculty and voluntary community physicians. All other office care is provided by volunteers, including a cadre of pharmacists, mostly retired physicians, medical students, and other persons dedicated to serving the uninsured in our county. The free clinic has 903 current patients, which is roughly 25% of the enrollment of Genesee Health Plan. During the last fiscal year, we had approximately 2,400 unique patient visits and 6,400 unique visits to our in-house pharmacy. Currently, there's a 3-week wait period for new patients. Simply stated, we do not have the capacity to absorb the patients who lose health care if GHP goes out of existence. I encourage you to approve the motion to place the Genesee Health Plan millage renewal on the November ballot. Thank you for this opportunity to address you.
Thank you. Do we have additional public comment?
Hi, Dr. Susan Hendricks, also Grand Blanc, Michigan. So I'm back again about flat cameras. I wanted to let you know that Milford has canceled its first contract and is on track to cancel its second contract. Also, FLACA said it has a perpetual contract to store data. They tell you they don't, but they've written it down in many of the contracts. FLACA shared data with U.S. Border Patrol and Homeland Security in violation of the Illinois state law and other places. They have turned on a nationwide search setting in at least one city that did not want it and did not do it themselves. They record damage, decals, license plates, and inside trucks, taking 6 to 12 photos per car, as well as photos of who is driving. All this creates a map of each person's travel and movements daily and weekly, and leads to nationwide surveillance. Congressman Andy Clyde said there are more than 80,000 cameras tracking not just suspects and warrants, but everyone without court approval. Police have been told to be as vague as possible in their requests for information to avoid FOIA requests from the public. There have been false arrests and lawsuits, which are not only wrong, but expensive for the people that are using the cameras. There is, of course, continues to be more and more tracking by police and others of people for stalking, reproductive health care, protesters, et cetera. The list is climbing daily. We request that as soon as possible you get rid of these. You're not protecting us. The damage that is being done is greater than the good that you're getting out of it. Also, you can do this by decreasing the amount of time you save your data, to making sure that you have warrants, for any requests that are there, and that they're only, criminal requests. I just want to mention that this is unconstitutional. You're harming all of us, and just like in my field and everywhere else, it's important to do no harm. Thanks.
Thank you. Additional public address? If you'd state your name and your place of residence.
My name is Sabrina Bouchard. I am a resident of Clio, and I'm also a senior service provider. I just had a positive client interaction that I thought that all of you might want to hear, and so I thought that I'd use my 2 minutes to do so. It's important to say that I'm the director of our vision and hearing impaired program that's funded by the senior millage. I got a client who unfortunately did not have health insurance. He was also not 65 to be on Medicare, and he woke up blind one day from an eye infection. He lived alone and was unable to go to any type of rehab due to his lack of health insurance. And so he was rushed to the hospital and then released back home newly blind without any ability of cooking for himself, doing any type of self-care, or having any aids to alleviate any barriers that he was obviously experiencing. So the social worker at the hospital got in contact with me, and my services were able to help him with his visual impairment, and then we also connected him with other senior service providers such as Meals on Wheels, in-home care, and some other ones to get him what he needed quickly. So when he returned home, he had the help that he needed in his home that day to be able to eat and take a shower and know what time it was and make a phone call for help. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I know that the decisions that you don't make are easy, but I hope that you take situations like that into consideration. So thank you.
Thank you. Additional public address? Hi.
Hi,
Welcome.
thank you. All right, good evening, Genesee County Board of Directors. My name is Brooke Gow. I reside in Argentine Township. I'm the Executive Director of Family Service Agency in Mid-Michigan, and similar to Ms. Bouchard, who is a program director at our nonprofit, I would also just really like to highlight the impact that the senior millage funding has done, not only here in this county, but in ways that it's become a standard across the state. The senior millage for 15 years has funded our guardianship program, and I just want you guys to take this knowledge into when you vote later on. Our guardianship program right here in Flint, Michigan, that's funded by the senior millage, is the example that the state of Michigan is using right now to change guardianship law and legislature as we know it. We have been fortunate enough to be the face of a bill that is going to have a huge impact on individuals who are extremely vulnerable, including here and across the state. It is going to be requiring all assets over $25,000 to be in restricted accounts if they find themselves under guardianship. And that's a practice here in Genesee County that we are able to make possible and implement through our guardianship program, setting the standard. I'm really trying to share this to really just paint the picture of how far and vast these funds go, and also point out that these are things that I don't feel I was able to express or relay to the task force during the investigation. 2 minutes during the last 9 months. I feel really frustrated with that being all that we were allotted. So I just figure, why not try to get one good story out there, and keep in mind that I'm not sure service providers were really represented during this time. And I can only speak for myself and my feelings, but thank you.
Thank you. Additional public address?
Good evening, Commission. My name is Jacquindre Brown. I live in the city of Flint and I reside in the 1st District. I'm here to support the healthcare service millage being put on the ballot for renewal. and to oppose unnecessary cuts that will only make it harder for our residents to receive vital health care coverage. During the last meeting regarding the millage, after already having a committee regarding this topic, to agree to reduce the amount of years the renewal will be in effect, the discussion afterwards still devolved into finding more ways to ensure that our residents in the community and the county will continue to suffer. There were commissioners who wholeheartedly believe that being able to see a doctor should be contingent on a change of lifestyle. I view things differently. I believe that if a resident is sick, they should be able to get treated, full stop. Whether it is due to healthier foods on average being more expensive than unhealthy foods, whether it's because of parents have to decide between taking care of themselves or taking care of their children, because they aren't able to afford to do both. Whether it is the brutal work schedules with low wages that makes it more difficult for residents to make food at home, a person's lifestyle for them is made for them due to the residents living in a system that perpetuates suffering so that it can profit. And based on the discussion from the previous meetings, previous meeting, the commission wants to make that suffering even worse. Also, as commission, I urge you to stop the practice of perpetually compromising to people who never intended to support a motion in the first place. We hear these half-hearted concerns from commissioners such as Shoemaker that do nothing but provide false dichotomies for the sake of it. For example, he constantly mentions how he is concerned that residents don't qualify for services provided, that they will have to pay for more for health care compared to people who don't qualify. Instead of finding more ways for residents to get covered, he wants to get rid of the millage entirely. I urge commission to follow the voters who voted for this in 2018 by 65% instead of people who compromise for nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Additional public address?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Amari Stewart, Flint Township. I'm here on behalf of Explore Flint and Genesee, the Convention and Visitors Bureau for the county. With regards to the proposal for Wayman Britt for the consultant services for a sports commission, I just want to pose the question, was there a procurement involved to allow for additional consultant services to apply for the RFP so that we're getting the best that we have, that you guys can make a more informed decision. Additionally, this proposal that has been presented significantly changes the dynamics of the way our Convention and Visitors Bureau would operate by diverting some of the sales strategies that we have already put in our strategic plan up until 2028 over to this new model, and reducing us to just the brand promotion, visitor services, and destination marketing. And so I would love an opportunity to work with the commission and or Wayman Britt or whomever it is you guys choose to work with, so that we can collaborate on a consistent basis on the roles and so they're not duplicative of the services that we already provide for our community residents and our meeting planners and event organizers as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Public address.
Good evening, Commissioners. Dominic Clemens, Flint Township, and have the honor of serving as the Genesee County Clerk and Register of Deeds. As you all know, very busy time in our office. We actually were looking at some of our KPIs. We had over 2,900 customers in the month of May in our office. But I'm here today to introduce you all to Jake Lane, who is our summer intern, part of the MSU Flint Study Away program. He is not only here learning about county government in Genesee County, but getting to explore all that the greater Flint region has to offer, and wanted to give him the opportunity to introduce himself.
Hello, my name is Jake Lane. I'm a political science student at MSU. I'm excited to experience the joys of local government, and I'm originally from Wisconsin, so this is kind of a unique, interesting experience for me. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome to the joys of local government, Jake. Why don't we give him a round of applause for his... I'm a jaded chair. Welcome to Genesee County. We're happy to have you. Do we have any additional public address? Any additional public address? One last time, public address. All right, public address is closed. We do have communications tonight. We'll start with the Director of Administration report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We do have two people that I'd like to call up first, and then I'll go ahead and say what I've, my bit. Is she here? Michelle, that's who I'm looking for. There she is. Sorry. Michelle Estella is here with our friends from the state to talk about some good news and good work of our health department. So Michelle, if you'd like to introduce Laura so I don't have to say her last name, and then.
And Michelle, tell us who you are first, if you would.
I'm Michelle Estelle. I'm the health officer of the Genesee County Health Department. And with me, I have Laura Delarimbellier, who is the director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and a great help to me. And then we have Janine Whitmire, who is also with the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Good evening, Commissioners. It's
Good evening.
an honor to be here in front of you, and I just want to not give myself a promotion. I am not the director of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. I am the director of the Division of Local Health Services, MDHHS. And in that role, I function as the liaison to the 45 local health departments here in Michigan. And we're just grateful for the support that you provide to Genesee County Health Department each and every day. I'm here to deliver some good news and to congratulate Genesee County Health Department on their accreditation for Cycle 8. Michigan is unique. We have a local public health accreditation program that's been in place since 1997. It tests every local health department across the state on minimum program requirements in 11 different programs just to complete an assurance function under the Public Health Code that if you are a resident in Genesee and you go for vacation in Benzie, you're going to receive similar services consistently across the state in those programs. These program standards are developed jointly between state and local health departments and with EGLE and MDARD as well. So EGLE's the Environment, Great Lakes and Energy Department, and then MDARD is the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. We conducted Cycle 8 review for Genesee in February 2025. And at that time, I just wanted to share a few things that stood out in the report that made Genesee stand out to us at the state. In the Powers and Duties program, Genesee County is recognized for collaboration with partners in the community, including with Michigan State University and several other agencies, to produce a health equity report card on the entire jurisdiction. And the report serves as a valuable tool for Genesee County Health Department and the community to highlight areas of success, as well as those that require further attention and improvement in an iterative process. Additionally, in the immunizations program, the health department was recognized for accommodating clients who are walk-ins, and they rarely turn any client away. If a client is unable to be accommodated, clients will be able to make an appointment for immunizations no more than 1 week from the date that they arrived. Clients for an appointment for longer than 1 week are during the busy season, but I would anticipate in this beautiful new facility that you've moved into that would not be an issue going forward. Genesee will also add additional clinic hours during back-to-school events and influenza season for immunizations and any waivers that clients are seeking in a timely manner. In the HIV/STI program, Genesee was recognized for its dedication and advocacy for the clients that it serves. They consistently run testing events with local colleges. They participate in community events and offer one-on-one technical assistance meetings with county providers who need support. In the past 7 years, Genesee County Health Department has distributed over 300,000 condoms in the community. And then finally, in children's special health care, and last week I got to hear an update that I hope appears in a future accreditation report. The Children's Special Health Care Program is recognizing their collaborative efforts in relationship building that Genesee County Health Department and their children's special health care staff provide and foster with partners such as Medicaid, Community Mental Health, Center for Civil Justice, the hospital system staff, local organizations, other local health departments, and they share their leadership with other community organizations and advocates. I think there's just a wonderful story that happened in relation to the health fair that happened here last week. And I just want to say thank you again for your support to Genesee County, and congratulations to Michelle and her staff.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Director Estelle, and to all of your staff in the Health Department. Jared, are you trying to get a photo? Okay. Let's, why don't we pause for a quick photo there?
Mr. Chairman, our health department has come a long way in the few years that I've been here. Some of our, I call us our legacy commissioners, will know what it was like back in the day, but we've got a very strong and competent leadership team who this board should be proud of, right? County health departments, that's a core function of county government, and public health truly does save lives, as I've got on the front of my computer. Next item on the agenda, Mr. Chairman, I'll throw it over to you.
Sure. So another feel-good item tonight, which I think is not only reflective of part of the county, but really the whole county. There's a unique project that I became aware of in my district, but it's in honor of veterans, and I want to make sure I get this right. It's through the Hammerberg Memorial VFW 3720 Auxiliary, and there were students from the Genesee Career Institute, who I think are from probably all over the place. And there's a student that was involved in this project, and then the post quartermaster who are going to come forward at this time, if you would. Are they you both here? It's Harbor Rooney, who I believe is there, and Zebby Perkins. And we're going to show some photos of this project. And I thought it was particularly timely, given the country is about to celebrate our 250th anniversary. We have a resolution on our agenda tonight to acknowledge the 250th anniversary, and we would not be at 250 years without our veterans. And I think it's admirable what's being done at this particular post. So Harbor, I think I'll maybe let you talk about the student component, and then if either of these gentlemen want to weigh in, please do.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Harbor Rooney, and I'm one of the DECA Awareness Campaign co-chairs in the Marketing and Graphic Design program at Genesee Career Institute. Over the past few months, our class has been working on a veteran awareness campaign for the local VFW in Swartz Creek. Our goal has been to inform the community about the sacrifices veterans have made for our community and the benefits and resources available to them. During the campaign, we interviewed 15 local veterans who shared stories about their time in the military. We then used their words and experiences to create posters that highlighted their service and sacrifices. We also created a community survey to learn how veterans have impacted people's life and gain a better understanding of the many ways veterans have served and contributed to our country. Our goal is to reach 500 responses. The biggest part of the campaign was creating a 3-part mural on the Swartz Creek VFW building. Each section of the mural tells a different story and honors the powerful impact veterans have made on our community. Throughout this project, we have had the privilege of connecting with veterans, learning from their experiences and sharing their stories with the community. It has been an honor to help recognize and celebrate those who have served in our country. Next time you are on Elms Road in Swartz Creek, please stop by the Hammerberg Memorial Post and take a look at our beautiful mural.
All right, thank you. Gentlemen, would you like to say, yeah, if you would say a couple words? Okay, all right. Thank you to the VFW Post. I know there are a number of these organizations that are veteran serving. It's a beautiful thing to see students in our community celebrating that history. And I learned a little bit about Mr. Hammerberg, who was a World War II veteran and actually perished in World War II. And the Post is named after him, and his picture's on the mural, or his face. So thank you very much. Mr. Freeman, do you have additional items in your report?
Just a couple of more things. The chair and I met with Fiscal Services and Senior Services yesterday to discuss how the county may move forward with funding for our Senior Services Department, and that was in light of the recommendations that were provided to you at the last meeting by the Senior Services Task Force. That task force did make several suggestions about possible opportunities to address concerns where Vulnerable seniors may be on a waiting list, as well as ensuring our senior centers are able to continue operating at a serviceable level. Staff will work over the next couple of weeks to put together some recommendations around funding and programming that we hope to have as a total package before you at our next board meeting in July, which will be the starting point for the board to make a decision on how you all want to move forward. It will start that discussion. And the July meeting is good because, you know, we're looking at budget, right? We already have several budget meetings taking place in July. There is one item on the agenda tonight that was a direct recommendation of the Senior Task Force, and that was concerning a more in-depth study of our senior needs by Michigan State University. You'll remember that was on an agenda several meetings ago, and it was postponed to this meeting. It is on page 6 of the current agenda under other or old business. I want to bring that to your attention because it was not part of last week's committee, so it's coming back from a blast from the past. The staff and I have also been talking with our lobbyists, and we continue to monitor the state budget process. As you know, or as you may have heard, and some of the updates from MAC are just generally in the news. The state budget process has been a bit of a roller coaster lately, and none of it has been particularly calming, the information that's coming from Lansing. We know how important it is around public safety. You know, this board had to take action earlier this year around the prosecutor to ensure that he is able to continue to provide his required duties as our chief law enforcement officer in Genesee County. So we'll keep you informed as we get more information over the next couple of weeks. You should expect something from in writing from us over the next week or two. And around our new lobbyists will be on hand at a meeting in July, either the committee or the full board meeting, to introduce themselves. I know that some of you were on part of the evaluation team. Some of you may know members of the firm just from being around, but this will give them an opportunity to formally introduce themselves to you and also give us a more definitive update on the state budget process. Hopefully we've got better answers than we do now. Finally, as you know, the Road Commission advertisement, as well as the opioid committee advertisement, that those listings have closed now. I did forward resumes that we did receive to each commission member. Per the policy, this will be on the July board meeting unless we are directed otherwise. So I just wanted to give you that heads up, and other than that, I don't have anything else.
Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Chair, as head of the appointment committee, I was going over some applications, especially in the road commission. We seem to be very light compared to what we were last time, and with discussing with a few people, our indecision as far as what we are going to do with the road commission, as far as whether we are going to bring that in-house or not, let a lot of people not to apply. When we'd had discussion before on the floor, you had mentioned actually putting a list of questionnaires that we would ask these commissioners and so on and so forth to make sure we got the most qualified candidate, because it's so vital to us. That being said, I would like to send it out again one more time to see if we can get some more qualified people, but I want to make sure it's this board's pleasure that we would do that. Obviously, this is a very important issue for us, but if the board doesn't want to, then I'll accept that also. I'm still going to go through the process, no matter what we do, taking your recommendation and creating a list of questions that we would ask people who want to sit on the road commission to make sure we are getting the most qualified candidate that understand the duties and what is supposed to take place in that instance. So I would just like to know what the board's pleasure is moving forward. I'd start with Commissioner Winfrey, if we would, because obviously he's my co-chair in that. So.
Yeah, well, I agree, and perhaps we could invite some of those who had applied before, you know, to reapply, and, you know, be more proactive, you know, in that manner.
Any other comments? How many did we get? 3 or 4? Maybe 4?
3.
3. Okay, yeah, that is not a robust
Not compared to what we have
applicant
been
pool,
getting.
right?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that, if we want to re-advertise. Do you have a
I'd like to put a
recommendation?
motion on the floor then to re-advertise for the 30-day period.
Okay, is there, you want to put a deadline on how long the advertisement will be out?
We'll follow our normal policy of 30 days,
Okay,
if that's okay.
yeah. All right, it's been moved and supported. Is there discussion?
Can I ask one question? The
Mr.
people that
Freeman.
already applied, do you want them to apply again, or they'll just be
No,
included?
they've done their
We'll send
duties.
notification then, okay.
Additional discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker.
Was
Additional?
that just to add it to the agenda? Do we need to actually, I don't know if Corporation Council, do we need to also vote?
So that's to
on
add it
how
to the agenda. Now we got to do it again.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, sorry about that.
I'd move that we move the item we added to the agenda.
Thank you. All right, and this is to pass it, right? Okay. Discussion on the motion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. I think we're good on that score now. Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman, for bringing all this to my attention also.
Mr. Freeman, did you have anything else? Or do we have any questions on Mr. Freeman's report? All right, thank you. We're moving on to reports of standing committees, Board of Commissioners. Resolution 2026-0731, approval of the 2026 summer property tax levy. I'll entertain a motion.
Move it. Support.
Moved and supported. Is there discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. We now have the Community and Economic Development Committee, chaired by Dr. Beverly Brown and vice chaired by Sean Shoemaker. Dr. Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Resolution 2026-0700, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Wayman Britt Enterprises to provide for the creation of a Genesee County Sports and Entertainment Commission. The cost of this agreement will be paid from the Accommodations Tax Fund.
I move it or support it.
Moved and supported. Is there discussion?
I would just
Dr.
add-
Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just add that this particular process is no different from the contract in the same manner that we've awarded to, other entities such as the CVB.
Okay, additional discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried.
I move Resolution 2026-0716, approval of the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Services Contract Extension with Arkwood Environmental Inc., DBA ERG Environmental Services for one
Support.
additional year, commencing February 10th, 2026 through February 9th, 2027.
It's been moved and supported. Is there discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Dr. Brown, do you have any additional items or report?
No, I don't, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. We're now on to our Finance Committee, chaired by Martin Cousineau and vice chaired by Gary Getzinger. Chairman Cousineau is absent this evening, so I am going to turn to Vice Chair Getzinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to take a stab at moving all 1 through 10 to
Support.
consent agenda.
1 through 10 have been moved. Are there any and moved and supported? Are there any separations? You need a minute to look, everybody? Or good? All right. The motion is to approve 1 through 10. Is there discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Any report, Mr. Getzinger?
Report at this time.
Thank you. We are now on to the Governmental Operations Committee, chaired by Commissioner Delrico Lloyd and vice chaired by Sean Shoemaker. Commissioner Shoemaker, Mr. Lloyd is absent, so I'm going to ask you to conduct this.
I would like to move the consent agenda. I wonder if there's any items that anyone would like taken out. I would like to remove item 13 to start with for discussion, but I would like to move items 1 through 12 and then 14 through 17.
All right, so there's a motion to move items 1 through 12 and items 14 through 17 as part of a consent agenda. It's been supported. Are there any separations from that list by anyone else? Any separations? let me just say, I know that there are some folks that do not vote on resolutions, or as a matter of policy or personal policy, they don't vote on resolutions. You should know that we have some resolutions that are part of the motion, and I just want to point that out in case you wish to separate them. They're, looks like they start at 14, 15, 16, and 17. And I'm not saying you have to, I just want you to know.
I guess let's separate them.
Okay. So we're separating out 14 through 17. Any other separations? All right. All those in favor of the motion to approve 1 through 12, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Commissioner Shoemaker, do you want to start with number 13?
If we want to start with 13, we can do 13, or do we want to do
It-
14,
it's-
15, 16,
I'll
17?
defer to you.
Let's move, I'll move 14, 15, 16, and 17.
Support.
All right, moved and supported. Is there discussion? Mr. Getzinger.
Again, I just feel that we've been inundated with resolutions, and most of them don't need to be here, so I'm voting no on all of them.
Do we have additional discussion? I want to thank Governmental Operations, you, Mr. Shoemaker, and Chairman Lloyd for bringing these. I appreciate it. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Nay.
The motion
4-2.
fails. We don't have a majority, so the motion fails. Mr. Shoemaker.
Resolution 260693. Approval of a purchase order to Foresights Labs in the amount not to exceed $158,308.22 for the entail year. Why is that in there? Anyways, and $107,625,000 for each subsequent year after the anniversary date. The purchase of these 50 Overwatch biometric monitoring devices and associated platform infrastructure.
That was a motion?
Support.
Or,
They'll need a motion.
okay.
Move it.
So moved and supported. It's on the floor. Do we have discussion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'd reviewed this, we've had some information sent to us. I noticed a few things that we probably should take care of beforehand. One, if you are gonna pass this resolution, we should make it contingent upon the approval of IT and Corporation Council still moving forward, if that's the pleasure of this board. In addition to that, I know they'd brought some individuals in to answer questions from the company, I think. Yep. So if that gentleman would like to come up, just introduce yourself, I think that would be fantastic.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dylan Martinez. I'm from Foresight Labs. Thank you very much for having me. I flew in from Dallas this morning. I'll give you a little bit of detail about the company, our product, and if you have any questions, just let me know. Like I said, we're Foresight Labs. We're based out of Tempe, Arizona. Our company was founded nearly 10 years ago by a couple of Special Forces veterans. But our mission is really simple. It's to save lives by reducing in-custody deaths and also save law enforcement careers. And this is our flagship product. It's called Overwatch. This is the device in question. What this device does is it goes on inmates in correctional facilities. What it does is it monitors their vitals in real time. And if there's any sort of issues, if their vitals go outside of clinical norms, your jail staff will get an alert within our software letting you know, hey, we need to go check on this person. To date, this device has been worn on over 50,000 inmates across 70 facilities in the country. Some of our notable jails that we operate in are Philadelphia Department of Prisons, San Diego County, California, Arlington County, Virginia, and also we're in the process of installing at LA County in California. It's very similar to like what you would imagine like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, but obviously it's very secure where they're not able to take it off. The pull force for the band itself is about 300 pounds. So, any questions?
Do you all have questions? Commissioner Shoemaker?
I may continue. Yeah, thank you for being here. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you for the Sheriff's Department for arranging it. I have a couple questions. One, I didn't see in my email, and maybe I missed it of my answers. The data when, let's say we didn't renew our contract actually with you.
Yep.
Is that our data to take with us? Is it?
Exactly. So the data is owned by you all. We don't share it. It's owned by you. The data retention policy is also set by you. So let's say somebody's released from your custody and you want us to purge the data. We can do it at whatever interval you'd like. By default, we keep it forever. Let's say, after a couple years, you guys decide to go to a competitor or something. We could purge it at that point, or we could keep it forever. It's just totally up to you.
So is one, if I may, Mr. Chair, continue. Is it like an electronic notification that's as simple as you have data that needs to be removed and we just would execute that, or is there a
That's
letter
something
sent?
we would do like at the sales handoff. Whenever we execute the contract, we would work with the POC of the jail or the county and let us know, hey, what would you like your data retention policy set at, and we'd abide by that.
Okay. If we were to leave you and we wanted our data, though, obviously it's being stored elsewhere because cloud-based, is there a cost to have that data
Negative.
saved? It would just come to us?
Yes, sir. So like I mentioned, we could keep it forever you want, and there's no charge to the county for that. And we're fully hosted in Azure Gov.
Okay. So, thank you.
We have additional discussion on the motion. Dr. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you repeat how many people use this device?
Yep, so this device itself, just a little background on the product. We were funded by Axon about 4 years ago. Axon, they developed the taser, the body cam. So in partnership with Axon, we developed this product. To date, it's been worn on 50,000 inmates across the country, over 70 facilities. And this number changes constantly, but to date, we have 200 cases where our customers have written and said, hey, this intervention, we were able to potentially save someone's life, either by a potential suicide we caught, somebody overdosing. We had a heart attack in California last week that we were able to catch. They found the person unconscious.
So you said 200 of the 50,000 that are wearing it, 200, you've been able to save 200 lives?
200 reported is what we've gotten, and that number goes up all the time. And a lot of times our customers don't always write in and let us know, but what we've been reported is 200 plus.
Okay. And the last question, the last time we met on this, I had a question about whether or not corporate counsel had reviewed the contract, and I'm not sure that has been done as of yet.
So I believe Commissioner Shoemaker, and I don't know if you want to amend the motion with that, but he's suggesting that we could pass it tonight with an addition that says not only does Corporation Counsel need to sign off as he would normally, his office normally would as part of the Legistar process, but that IT also on it because they're part of that process. And
If the board chose to move forward with this, it'd be contingent upon that.
contingent upon.
That's part of your motion?
I didn't make the original motion. I was recommending that you guys add it. So.
Okay.
So can someone, I'm in favor of that. I looked at our policy about procurement yesterday, and I know that, some confusion about how this was put into the system and all of that, but want to make sure that we have these folks sign off for a reason to make sure that we're in compliance with the law and that IT feels we have the bandwidth to take things on that require IT. Commissioner Flewelling?
Need an amendment on the motion,
I would say so.
and I'll amend the motion to not execute the contract until IT and corporate counsel sign off.
All right, is there support for that?
Support.
All right, moved and supported to amend the motion to make it contingent upon appropriate review by our internal departments. Do we have discussion on that? Do we have any more questions for this gentleman? Maybe we'll start there. Mr. Shoemaker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We discussed warranty on the item, and it is very sound when I've touched it. It is a lot different than what I was expecting, so. But my question is what is because obviously I don't think that if they just broke from just sitting there, the seal was affected and it got wet, obviously that's something you're gonna take care of. But what I'm talking about is what is the policy if they were to get damaged by an inmate or some other circumstance? What's the replacement policy?
Yep, so it's full, we replace it. We usually happen, so obviously this device is very rugged. It doesn't happen as very often, but when it does, our customer writes into us and lets us know, hey, we have X number of devices that are damaged or faulty. What we'll do is overnight replacements, and then we'll send a shipping label to receive them back. So
How long does that process normally take?
Usually 1 to 2 days.
Oh, well, okay. And then they'd mentioned training of our staff to understand what to look for. Can you explain to me what that actually looks like? You know, exactly how many days, is it virtual, you know?
Yep, so
What
it's,
liabilities we take on by actually accepting that training as far as providing that care to the inmate at that point?
sure. So we're very flexible again on how we do the training. One of the main ways we do it is train the trainer. So we'll have a big group of and we usually do this on site. We prefer on site. Each session for training usually takes about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on questions. It's a super simple device to use. But like I said, most of the time we do train the trainer. In other cases, like I just did training in Hennepin County, Minnesota. They had 100+ deputies. We did training for all the deputies over 4 days, multiple sessions each day. So
Commissioner Shoemaker.
So this device just connects to the Wi-Fi inside of the,
we have a particular gateway that it connects to. It's plug and play. Basically, this device connects to what looks like a router, and it needs to be within about 300 feet of this device to connect, and that'll transmit all the biometric data from that device through your network up to Azure Gov.
is that included in your quote, installing those
Yes.
devices? Okay. Thank you very much.
Do we have additional, Commissioner Getzinger?
Is this a budgeted item, or is this in addition to their budget, or?
Do you know, Captain? Go ahead.
Paid out of opioid funds.
Oh, it's the opioid settlement, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's, given that Captain Kennemer, I know you weren't here last week, I wasn't here last week, but you and I have talked about this on the phone. Would you like to step up and maybe talk a little bit about how we can use opioid funds and this particular population that you intend to put the device on?
So we're finding it more and more challenging in our jail right now of inmates that are coming in that are substance addicted. These individuals are both addicted to both uppers and lowers. So their body is going like this the whole time. When they come into the jail, a lot of times they're not honest with us as far as what they're taking. We don't find out until they're well down the path of withdrawals and their body is just dying and crashing on them. The opioid epidemic in our county is massive. The numbers I got today, we had 34 inmates currently on opioid withdrawals in our jail, which is roughly around 6%. It's gone all the way up to about 10% of our population currently going through the withdrawals, which is double or triple other counties that even are surrounding us. We have a very sick population in our jail. So with that, the need to have extra monitoring, extra precautions, and extra safeguards in place just limits our liability, limits the county liability, and ultimately it gets them the required medical assistance, saving countless minutes on it. We did do as much due diligence as we can. We talked about 9 different counties. In each of the counties that we talked to, based on the list, they gave us a excuse me, they gave us a whole list of all their clients, and we randomly picked the counties to talk to. And every single one of them attributed it to saving lives. One of the stories we had in Ashland was an individual got an alert, they responded, and as they were there, he had a heart attack and passed out while medical was checking him based on the alert. There was individuals that saved him on suicide because the device monitors heart rate and body movement. Those individuals that are considering suicide, there's a algorithm that their heart rate increases, that their movement increases as they're building up, I'm going to say courage in order to try to take their own life. That triggers the alert, and as the responding officers show up, the individual is getting ready to attempt to take his own life. Those are direct stories from, I'm going to call them the boots on the ground people, unsolicited by this company.
Thank you, Captain. Commissioner Getzinger, do you have additional? Commissioner Flewelling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just ask if this is approved tonight that hopefully Corporate Counsel and IT can expedite their review, because I know we talked about this last week too. So, and this being a potential life safety issue, I would hope that we can get that done.
We've been working
rapidly.
hand in hand with IT. They've been phenomenal, stepping up and developing or giving us resources in order to get that process started. As far as the contract to go to corporate counsel, we were waiting for the approval of the PO to get that contract, although we've started talking to them about some of the clauses, like Commissioner Brown wanted to make sure we had an out clause, and we contacted them and made sure that if there is a reason that the product doesn't meet our expectation, that the county will have a way to get out of the contract. So that process is being started, and I have no doubt that corporate counsel and IT will continue.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Flowering. Anything else? All right. Any other discussion? So the motion on the floor, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Shoemaker.
Thank you. My question is, one is, if there is an emergency, are our officers trained to handle it, or are we accepting more liability by sending someone into that room that might not be able to handle the situation? Well, if you're not medically trained to do something and you're rushing in there to take care of it, sometimes there's liabilities and people sued at showing up to accident scenes because guess what, they've helped somebody. So I just want to make sure we're covered. So does that make sense what I'm saying? Are they trained to do that?
Well, there's a long answer and a short answer. Is the liability is on our officers either way. And our policy that we've worked with, an internal policy, if this goes through, we've met with our medical department, and our medical department is going to respond to every emergency or every alert that is sent off, because not every alert is an emergency. It's something that's operating outside the norm for that person. So they're going to send a RN to every person that gets alerted just to check and verify. Now, our deputies have that liability on every medical emergency, regardless of whether or not medical is there or not. And they are trained to respond accordingly.
So if I may,
You
the
may.
plan is that at that point, we're going to send an RN, actually, from the company we're contracted with.
100%,
Okay.
yes.
My next question is just, we're putting this device on someone as they walk in. Is this considered like giving them their clothing that they have to wear actually in the jail? Because I wouldn't want to see us in a lawsuit that this is violating someone's civil liberty if they don't want to wear the band, and they do. And I don't know if the
So,
gentleman had seen
part
something
of-
like this or not.
Sorry, Dana. I
No,
didn't
go
mean
ahead.
to interrupt, sir.
No, you're fine.
A part of developing our internal policy was that I am not going to forcibly make someone wear that. There will be an opt-out for an individual that says, I don't want anything. Just like if an individual goes to our medical department and he says, I don't want any of you touching them, they're not going to forcibly take his blood from him or get his blood pressure on him. He still has the individual rights in the jail. Our medical department will make the ultimate determination on 90% of these individuals on whether or not the individual meets the preset qualifications for this device. And at that point, the individual refuses, just like if they refuse their medication, there'll be a refusal log for them to sign, witnessed by 2 people, to have that documentation for us.
All right, thank you for clearing that up.
Do we have additional discussion? So the motion is to amend the original resolution to make it contingent that this won't go into effect until we have proper approvals by IT and our corporation council. So that would be the first vote. Mr. Flewelling.
Just one quick question, Mr. Chair. The resolution does state that it's to be paid for out of the opioid settlement funds, correct?
Would you repeat that? I'm sorry.
The resolution text does indicate it's to
So
be
I
paid
don't
out
have
of
the full resolution in front of me at the moment, but are you able to confirm that?
That was what we moved last week.
If it was in last week, it should still be in, talking about where the funding comes from? Yeah, I don't believe it's been changed.
So I'm looking at this, this is the first time I'm seeing this. I guess, in addition to IT, Corporation Council was not included on the Legistar. It didn't come through our office yet.
Josh,
So-
did you hear the question?
So the resolution does
I'm
not
sorry, I was
say,
trying to let him finish.
the resolution does not indicate where the funding is coming from. And I see a sentence in here, funding to be determined by board administration and the finance committee. But my understanding is, usually I edit every single resolution, so I would edit this, and if the board wishes it to specifically say it's gonna be paid out of the opioid money, it will say that.
Yeah, that's how we passed it last week. Yep.
So was it, forgive me, I wasn't here last
No,
week.
you're
Was
fine.
this discussed and it was supposed to be changed for tonight?
No,
Or no?
so
Okay.
again, as I stated, and I know you weren't here last week, It was my understanding that this was an urgent matter. We got it to the board so that the board could consider the concept of it, and understand the concept of it, and you guys had robust discussion about it last week. IT still has to do their review, and Corporation Counsel, who is typically last in the review process, has to do their review. And once those reviews are done, then we will sign a contract. We will not sign a contract prior to all of that review.
The question is really more about the funding source.
Yes. Funding source is opioid settlement.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure it was still in the resolution.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, well, you had stepped away, so it's fine. So we have ultimate transparency in front of this crowd and us and the people at home that where the money's coming from, so that's confirmed. Let's vote on the amendment. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Amendment is carried. I'll entertain, well, actually, any discussion on the motion, the resolution as amended. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Commissioner Shoemaker, I think that takes us to the end of governmental operations. Do you have a report?
I have no report at this time.
All right. It occurred to me, if you'll indulge me, this belongs under government ops. I'm looking at our parks director who's sitting in the back, and I wonder if approach and very quickly give us an update on the America 250 activities. We will not meet as a commission, I think, until after July 4th. So I want us to hear what the plan is from now through July 4th or the middle of July, and anything else you think the community should know.
Yeah, sure. So just a reminder, the commission is focused on the event at Crossroads Village on August 29th, but we've worked with our partners throughout Genesee County to centralize information and get that information out. So a couple things coming up here before July 4th. On June 27th, the Fenton Historical Society is doing a history tour. July 4th, the Fenton Freedom Festival, pancake breakfast, water ski show, fireworks, 5K. July 4th, after the parade, the Sons of the American Revolution will be doing a reading of the Declaration of Independence. July 3rd, Clio is celebrating America with a concert and fireworks. And then anytime you want to get any information on events, just go to www.america250geneseeco.org, or you can go to the Genesee County Parks website, and we have a America 250 link right at the top.
All right. Thank you to you and the commission. I was at the press conference and got to represent the board, and people are excited.
Yep.
So thank you.
And get your passbooks if you don't have them.
Right, there's also a pass book that is sort of a passport almost style,
Yep.
whereas you attend events, you get stamps, and then you can win the coins, and, right? Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Shoemaker. Human Services Committee, chaired by Charles Winfrey and vice chaired by James Avery. Commissioner Winfrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move the consent agenda.
Support.
All right, consent agenda,
Motions?
yeah, 1 through 5.
Separate number 5.
Number 5 is separated. Any other separations? All right. So the consent agenda consists of items 1 through 4. It's been moved and supported. Is there discussion on the consent agenda? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Commissioner Winfrey, if you'd make the motion on number 5.
I move item resolution 2026-0738, approval of an agreement between Genesee County and Genesee Health System to allow for the expenditure of Genesee County's mental health millage.
Is there support? It's been moved and supported. Do we have discussion? Commissioner Flewelling.
Chair, thank you, Mr. Chair. Is Dan, I got a question for GHS.
Mr. Russell, if you would come up, please.
Good evening, Mr. Russell. Good evening. So, last week, we kind of went through year by year, levy collection, fund balance, and then we got to this year, where over the next 3-4 months, that's gonna be used up. So I just wanted to take that a step further, because one of my colleagues reminded me there was another piece to that particular discussion. So we start the year with $10 million in fund balance, collect 12, and it's gonna be gone, and as you said, all these programs are finally ramped up. So to take that one step further, I have some concern, because that means we're spending $22 million this year. How is that sustainable going forward when we're only collecting potentially that 12 million? So if that bulk group of programs is costing 22, how do you continue that with only 12 a year?
Getting the program
Dan, would you
started-
introduce yourself and tell us who you are, and then if you'd
Sure,
answer?
sorry. Dan Russell, I'm CEO of Genesee Health System. So getting the program starting will cost that. Going forward operationally, they will be within the millage. We can't spend more than what we receive.
Sure. No, our concern was, do you have that sustainability?
Yeah.
And I know obviously we've talked about a $10 million fund balance doesn't look real good.
Yeah.
But do you have concerns about only having a $100,000 fund balance? And obviously you have other funding sources, but that's not a real cushion in case something goes sideways.
It's tight. We think it is doable. I mean, there are things in the millage budget we would cut and keep what we consider the real core services if it gets real tight. I mean, we do a lot of sponsorships, we do a lot of grants, we do a lot of probably not medically necessary services. So if we got real tight, we would cut back on things that are not medically necessary, and we would focus on crisis services, the law enforcement, reinforcement, the training, those services.
Okay. And you can't do any of those, so those grants, that grant, if I may, I'm sorry,
You may.
Mr. Chair. That grant funding and those other programs can only be done with that millage money, right?
We do a little bit with our general fund. We get a little bit of general fund from the state, but it's only a couple $1 million.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we do modest.
But that big bulk is
Yeah.
like federal, Medicare, Medicaid, stuff like that, okay. Okay, now, okay. And can you come back 6 months
Anytime.
and give us an update on how those programs are going and how that funding looks?
Yeah.
If there's concerns. I don't know that there's support in increasing that millage, but,
Yeah.
you know, to go from 10 million to 0
Yeah.
and then try to sustain that would be concerning to me,
Yeah,
certainly.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. Thank you, Dan. You
When
may.
I was here last week, I was asked 4 specific questions. There were a lot of general questions and discussion, but I was asked 4 specific questions. Dr. Brown and Commissioner Shoemaker asked questions about suicide prevention. Commissioner Flewellen asked about what did a particular item in our audit, what was the definition of that? And then Commissioner Shoemaker also, I don't know if it was a question or more of a comment about he didn't think that his area was getting their share of services. So I have written answers to each one of those. I have some information about our Suicide Prevention Coalition. I have a list of 16 events over the last couple of years that we have either participated in or funded in the Lake Fenton areas. And then I have a definition and a little more information on the question from Commissioner Flewellen. So,
Thank you, Dan. Do we have additional discussion on the motion? The motion is to approve Resolution 26-0738.
Do you have
Commissioner Flewellen.
One question, remind me, Mr. Chair, this is a one-year MOU, correct?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Mr. Russell. Good to see you.
thank you.
Do we have a report, Commissioner Winfrey?
No report, Mr. Chairman.
No report. Thank you. The Public Works Committee is chaired by Brian Flewelling and vice chaired by James Avery. Commissioner Flewelling.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will offer items 1 through 6 as consent with separations.
It's been moved as a consent agenda, items 1 through 6. Supported. Is there discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is carried. Do you have a report, Commissioner Flewelling?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Unfinished business? Yeah. Okay, I see it. So we have unfinished business next on our agenda. These are resolutions that we considered previously but postponed maybe more than once, so that we could take a look at them in more detail. I'll entertain a motion on Resolution 2026-0404.
Move it.
Support with a question.
Moved and supported. Commissioner Flewelling.
Do we have anybody here, well, I don't know if it's so much a GHP.
Jim Melanowski is here.
Jim is here. Oh, Jim, would you approach? It sounds like
This
there-
might be a Jim question, this also might be a Josh question.
I can try.
Jim, if you'd introduce yourself for us.
Jim Melanowski, President, Genesee Health Plan.
Thank you, sir. So, again, I'm not sure if this is for you or Josh. We've talked several times about uninsured, underinsured. And as a part of this health services millage, there's the hospital payments. That $2 million, I think, was the most recent one for
Yep.
covering those. Do we have, maybe it's you, maybe it's Jim Ananek over at his group, do we have any data on how many county residents are uninsured? Is that even trackable? I say that.
I can answer that.
Can you? Okay.
At the census, when they do the census,
Yeah.
they track that. So,
Okay.
So that's probably the best data out there as far as the hospitals. When someone comes in and gets admitted, they obviously ask what kind of insurance that they have or if they're uninsured. And we obviously do the same thing, but there's not a centralized until we have the census.
Okay. And here's where my concern comes from, if I may continue.
You may.
Your group was funded how much last year? 6 million in this fiscal year,
Yes,
6 million?
yeah.
Paid the hospital 2 million for uninsured, and you have about 3,000 people on your plan?
Yep.
I mean, to me, that math's just not adding up there, so, I would like, and maybe I'll get with you and ask you some more questions offline about these numbers, because that just seems, in this day and age, 2026, that's a lot of uninsured people with all the laws and all the programs that are out there, that we're spending $8 million a year on uninsured, so, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Milanowski. Appreciate you. Is there additional discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman, just,
Mr. Freeman.
just for clarity, this was forwarded from previous agendas, so that's why the squib says August, but the resolution is correct for November, and it also was changed to 5 years.
Okay. So just to repeat that, because we've also missed the deadline to get it on the August ballot, given we wanted to drill down on it. So it'll appear in November, assuming there's a majority tonight. And what was the other piece?
5 years.
Oh, yeah, and we reduced it from 10 years to 5 for the motion. Is there additional discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Do I get 2 noes? Okay, motion fails. All right, also under unfinished business, we have Resolution 2026-0549. I'll entertain a motion.
Move it.
Been moved and supported. Is there discussion? Mr. Shoemaker.
I realize we're moving this forward because it's a recommendation by the committee we appointed, but I just want to bring some, my objections to this. One, first of all, my representative didn't even get to bring any of the ideas we discussed to this committee. So we had the senior task force. I met with him last night to guarantee and confirm this. So we're making recommendations without all the districts represented again. And then secondly, for me with this is, I don't want to tell somebody we're not going to give them care because we need to do a study. We pay a very qualified individual. I know there's some criticism of this individual, but I don't see it. I don't want to tell somebody we can't pick them up. 100 grand's a lot of people getting picked up and taken to the doctor. The fact is, additionally, we pay a tax to Michigan State, so it's double taxation you're hitting these people with, in my opinion. It's not, there's a millage. I guess I have a problem with that. You know, services are so important. I sat there and I listened to them, and I kept hearing senior center, senior center, senior center. But I think we're, one, trying to do the right things by creating the task force, but guess what? When everybody doesn't get an opportunity to actually express what they're doing, then that's a failure. And secondly, like I said, $100,000 is a lot of people getting taken to their appointments, a lot of people covered for dental, or a lot of people covered for other things. And my third point, again, I'll reiterate again, is we're already people paying Michigan State. Why are we paying again? $100,000 seems like a lot to do a study, but that's just me. So,
Do we have additional discussion? Mr. Flewelling.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. What is this? Is this gonna be paid out of, I'm assuming it's not budgeted. It's gonna be paid out of fund balance?
I believe it's fund balance of the senior millage.
Senior millage, fund balance. Senior millage fund balance?
Yeah.
How much is in that fund balance? Anybody know? 2.3 million. So we're gonna spend $100,000 of it. Okay. Somebody remind me why we put the task force together? Wasn't it to do this?
They've substantially done this, but recommended that we go further with this. That's all I mean, I wasn't on the task force, but that's what I heard them say when they presented.
Can we put a task force together to study the bricks on Saginaw Street next? I'm sorry. I'm done.
Is there additional discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Dr. Brown.
Thank you. I sat in on the debrief from the senior task force, and I, you know, listened to all their recommendations, and I think it wouldn't be appropriate for us to even set up a task force and give everyone an opportunity to participate from all the districts in the task force. These were public meetings, they were recorded meetings, and I just don't think it would be appropriate to disregard the really good recommendations I think that they provided to us. And so one of the key recommendations that they provided is something that I alluded to early on when we first started hearing about this issue, was the fact that we do a really good job as a government entity of blending research with policy and practice. Because when we look at that intersection, we can make informed decisions based on current data. And so with this grant from, with these dollars given to Michigan State University, I believe that this will allow them to do a deeper dive. We heard from a public comment this evening about perhaps the lack of service provider input. And I also understand that a lot of people that are homebound may not have had a chance to have their voices heard throughout this process. And understanding that, a research study, a formal research study, will be able to get more at narratives of those people who are homebound, who can really speak to the value of the services that they receive. And so I just think it's critical for us to look at that whole intersection of research, policy, and practice, because in the past, we haven't really done, the county hasn't really done a really good job of doing that analysis. And as we move forward, I would hope that that kind of thought-provoking analysis would take place for every single millage that we do, so we can make sure that the residents are getting what they are paying for. So I want to understand my return on investment as a taxpayer, and I know my constituents want to understand it better too. So the way we get to that understanding is by doing research that is credible, that we can validate, and research that we can understand, interpret, and use to make better policy decisions. I don't think the $100,000 will cover the full cost of the research. I do believe that Michigan State University will be matching part of it, or maybe matching 100% of it. And so research costs money, but it also provides a tool for us to move forward and, like I said, make informed decisions. And the last thing I'll say is that before we even make a decision, we have to really understand what the real problem is that we're solving, that we're attempting to solve. That's another thing that research can get to, is trying to identify the true problem and the root causes. And that's what this research study will be intended to do. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, Dr. Brown. Mr. Flowing?
One more time, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'll behave this time. I guess what I'm trying to say is, can we learn a lesson here? Can we do it different next time? How many times are we going to set up, and what have we wasted now, 9 months? I'm not saying what the task force did was a waste, all right? My appointee was unfortunately very busy, and he had to bow out, right? But now we've let this go for 9 months, and the people that we assigned to do a job, a task, have said, yeah, we did it, but we want them to do it. We want them to do it more thorough. We want more money to be spent for someone else to do the job that you asked us to do. And I think this is one of those cycles that I've mentioned a couple times over the past year and a half that we can get into with this bureaucracy and wasting time. Because if you're going to take 6 to 9 months to do something with a task force and then have that very task force say, we need this group to now take it from here. $100,000. How many driveways could be shoveled? How many meals could be served? How much could be done at senior centers or service providers with that money that could have been identified 6 months ago, 9 months ago? That's all I'm saying. Do we want to get into the habit of we're going to assign a subcommittee for a subcommittee to study this group and then turn back around and pay $100,000? And we talk about $100,000 like it's just nothing. It's just frivolous. Yeah, we'll just throw $100,000 at MSU to do a study. And I'm not trying to upset anybody. It's just, this seems ridiculous to me. At my regular job, if I said, hey, I want these 3 guys to perform this task, and they come back to me 6 months later and say, well, we looked at how to perform that task, but we think those 3 people, for the right amount of money, can do the task better. It just seems so antithetical to me.
Do we have additional discussion? So I'm going to ask Mr. Bradshaw to come up because in my view, the task force's results are not being fairly described or accurately described, I'll say. First, I want to find out, I know Commissioner Shoemaker, I heard that what you said, I think, was that your representative on the task force wasn't part of any of the voting or the discussions.
To clarify, my representative had several pages, and if you know my representative, he had several pages of ideas of how we could solve this problem and recommendations, and he did not get to bring them forth. I realize there was time constraints and people couldn't show, but I assume, knowing him and watching the record, he showed regularly.
Yeah,
So my problem is, again, you had a very strong-willed group of certain people, and some of us definitely can bogart our way into a lot of situations where we have a lot of mic time. But the fact is we formed this task force so everybody would have a say. On top of it, like I said, when you're giving your providers such little time, that's not, it's just not the right way to go. So if you want to talk about bringing Derek up as far as we're misrepresenting what the task force did, I'm not trying to diminish what their recommendations are. There was a lot of ideas. They were based with very little facts on certain things. And the whole point was we appointed 9 commissioners, each got 1, because we wanted our voices heard. Well, as this commissioner said, my commissioner's voice that I appointed was not heard. So I'm not going to sit back and say it was a great task force or it was a great group and listen to much what they have to say, when guess what? The person I represent to be there didn't get a say. And if you want to talk to a person, and Derek has dealt with him, and so has Mr. Freeman, and so have you, and so has Dr. Brown, somebody who cares, this gentleman, without a doubt, cares. Cares to try to solve the problems, cares to try to work with people. And like I said, I'm a little frustrated with that. Also a little frustrated that, guess what? $100,000 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And things were said in that debrief about our senior department, the way they do certain things, that I strongly disagree with. So I don't want it misconstrued. I do disagree with quite a bit what they said. I think there's some things that were great, but some things were opinions. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome. So I guess I wanted to make sure on your point, the way I took it was that he wasn't allowed to participate as all the others were in terms of offering things. And I know I watched almost all the sessions, and he was participating at the microphone on 10 frequently. But I thought, asking Derek to come up, if you could describe the process by which they came up with their recommendations, how people were involved, was there a vote, was there a consensus at the end? Can you walk us through that? And then I want to make the point that what you have before you is just one of many recommendations. So if I may, Commissioner Flewelling, I don't feel like they're saying, it's not that they didn't do their work. There's probably 20 recommendations, one of 20. So it is not true to say that the task force did not come up with, I think, things for us to think about over the 9 months. So I don't think it's fair to say it was a waste of time. So Derek, would you just describe the process by which people had input? And
Yep.
I know there were commissioner representatives that stopped attending. So let us know how many people were there at the end, if you would.
So nine members. I think in the end we had a core group of about 6 that really participated throughout the entire process. We had some life issues that happened with some people, so that's just the reality. Input process. We talked a little bit about input, and I heard a comment about people had 2 minutes to give input. Actually, the committee actually did a survey to all of the providers and allowed them to write down what the needs are for their seniors, right, in writing. We, out of all the service providers, I think we had somewhere around 50% that actually gave information. And that 2 minutes that they did get was just to highlight something they already had given us in a report. Because with the number of people, we just thought the committee wanted them to have that opportunity. So they actually gave more detailed information than in the 2-minute report. So that's, and that was all service providers, whether it's a senior center or an agency, et cetera.
Any organization currently receiving senior millage
Receiving
dollars.
funds. And we had about a 50% or less participation rate that actually provided us input when we requested it in written form. The second question ties into how did this group come up with the end results? In that process, and there was a form that was sent out to all of the senior advisory task force so that they could write down what their recommendations were. We received a handful back from committee members, maybe 10, 11 of those recommendations in writing before the meeting. Then during the meeting, the one committee member that we were talking about actually came with a handful of written ones. All of the ones that he came with in the meeting were included in the reports. And to be clear, you know, it was one sentence and there was 2 or 3 pages of detailed, how does this actually happen? Because he puts a ton of thought into his stuff, absolutely. And so each of those recommendations, there was like a 1 line that kind of summarized the pages. So we went around to the group and we put those in. Then we allowed each of the group members in that meeting to add any additional. So that would be anything we've got written beforehand from the committee members, anything that was brought to the meeting, which we had people bring forms to the meeting, which was fun. And then at the end of that, we allowed anybody to add any additional into that process, which they did. The committee did not exclude any of those processes in that process. They were put in all up on a board. There was a voting system to try and get some input. And then in the meeting, after we got those results back, the following meeting they went through and reviewed, and they had a couple of adjustments that they made, and they did that by a vote. So at the end of the process,
All of the committee members voted unanimously for the recommendations that ended up being presented to the county board. So that was the process that was involved in that committee.
So that's helpful for me to hear. I wanted to make sure that no one was excluded. I wasn't able to watch the last meeting or two, watched all the first 6 months or 7 months, and it looked like it was quite inclusive in terms of people being able to speak. It would be problematic to me if we didn't allow people to have their fair, their ability to offer things. So, any questions for Dr. Brown?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to say that one of the byproducts of the task force also added value, and that is they all became disciples, if you will, of the services and programs that are offered to seniors in this county. So they expressed that it was a very educational process for them, so that now they can go back and share with others that they know. The other piece that I would mention was about the methodology. So I think everything is great the way they collected the data and they processed everything. There was one gap in it that I observed, and I think the chairperson of the committee even stated it, and that's why they wanted to see a mixed method study, because I think the gap in the methodology was the lack of narratives being told by seniors themselves. And so I would argue that this particular study, if we do decide to engage with MSU to do it, I'm sure the researchers would be intentional about reaching out to people whose voices they may not have been heard, or whose ideas may not have been heard. Because I think when you do a research study, it's much more thorough than the people sitting around the table, because they will go out into the community and meet the people where they are. And so your representative in particular, because I know he has a lot of great ideas, they could go to him and say, and take that information and perhaps do it differently in terms of integrating it into their recommendations. So that's the one gap that I can see will add value with this particular study, because it will be a mixed method study.
Do we have additional discussion on the motion? Commissioner Shoemaker.
I had one thing. Thank you, Mr. Chair. The funny part is they made all these recommendations, and our first one that we go to is spending money. That's the first thing we go to. Let's just spend money. And that's where I think we've had a problem with this board since I've been down here. There's other recommendations on that sheet. There's stacks of paper. Like Commissioner or the chair had said, there's over 20 different recommendations on there, and the first one we go to is to spend money. And like I said, to me, I just don't think it's just right now. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Welcome, Commissioner. Let me get Mr. Getzinger, if I could, and then you, Dr. Brown.
Has there been any discussion, kind of following up what Sean said, any discussion on looking at some of the other recommendations maybe first, and see if we can get any results from that?
Can I answer?
Commissioner Brown, sure.
Yes, so at the end of the presentation, one of the things we all, and this was another of their primary recommendations, was that they empower the Director of Senior Services to do a lot of the recommendations that have been outlined. And so we, I'll just speak for myself, I want to empower Lynn to do all those recommendations that she can act on right now. And so, yeah, there were lots of recommendations that she can do and her team can do right now, in addition to the research study.
So I can add a little bit, Commissioner Getzinger, and Mr. Freeman mentioned it under his report. So we haven't met as a body since we had the workshop to digest this, to hear about it. I know that a couple commissioners were not able to attend. That was you and Commissioner Flewelling. And so I asked Mr. Freeman and the finance director and the director of senior services to look at those recommendations that came forward, any that related to budget specifically and requests for proposals, because now's the time we would put those out, for senior centers and providers, and bring sort of a comprehensive recommendation or plan to us so that we can look at it as a group based on the senior task force recommendations, but also timely with the budget and trying to get the RFPs out so the senior centers and the providers, looking at a couple of them out here, know what our emphasis is. Those won't go out until we've looked at it, so that piece of the recommendations we'll be able to chew on once we get some sort of a proposal, a comprehensive proposal from staff. There are some recommendations which I can't name in the moment that aren't fiscal or aren't budget related that maybe Chair Winfrey, given this is under the Human Services Committee, might want to have a special meeting, or we can bring it up at a future workshop. Is that helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Other discussion? I'm going to do a roll call on this one. I should have done it on probably the health millage, just so we have maximum clarity of how people voted. So the motion on the floor is to approve 2026-0549. Madam Clerk, are you prepared to take the vote?
Commissioner Winfrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Getzinger,
No.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker,
No.
Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelling. It's 3-3, motion fails.
Motion fails. And let me just say that I believe the motion on the health plan or the health millage was a 4-2 defeat. If I'm wrong about that, people can speak up just for the record. All right, thank you all. Commissioner Shoemaker.
Mr. Chair, if someone knows, when does an item have to be approved by this board to show up on November's?
August 11th.
August 11th.
It's the clerk's here, right? Can you confirm that? August 11th?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I think we're...
Yes, you are correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Shoemaker. We're moving on to new and miscellaneous business. We do have recommendation from Corporation Counsel that we go into a closed session. Let me just say before, I know you are going to read this out, right? For the audience's purposes, when we go into closed session, we're going to leave the room, go up to our conference room on 10, just us with invited staff. We will eventually come out of closed session back to this room where we will reconvene, and if there's a vote on this particular topic, I'm not sure that there will be, or if it's just discussion. In any case, we'll be back in here and we will either vote or not, and we will adjourn. Corporation Counsel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Under the Open Meetings Act, this board is allowed to go in a closed session in certain circumstances, and specifically under MCL 15.268, subsection 1, subsection E, this board can go in a closed session to consult with its attorney regarding trial or settlement strategy in connection with specific pending litigation. And what we have for you tonight is some litigation involving Redstone Architects and Genesee County Board of Commissioners. It's an arbitration/mediation case. Case number is 01-24-0008-7495 as indicated on the agenda. So we do have our attorney that will be appearing via Teams when we go upstairs. And so I would advise that this board should take a vote to go into closed session, and you'll need 6 votes via roll call to enter closed session.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Moved and supported. Any discussion? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Winfrey,
Yes.
Commissioner Getzinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Shoemaker, Commissioner Wayhill,
Yes.
Commissioner Flewelling. Unanimous.
All right, we are in closed session.
Well, it did. I was like, yeah. Well, it was weird. He emailed me yesterday morning. Hey, I don't see it's not there. It's still good. Right, because I didn't send it to Josh. And then as soon as you said, yeah, we'll add it, he sent me another email. Well, which is wow.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Winfrey, you're recognized.
I move that we accept the recommendation of council.
We're back in open session. We have a motion that we recommend, or that we accept the recommendation of our corporation council. Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Is there any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. We have no further